Randy, let me ask you a question about personal investments and planning for the future, that sort of thing. Let me ask you, if you were to counsel, and I'm sure you do this from time to time, to counsel a young couple in their money management, their planning, their savings, emergency funds, is there something you would describe, or even just a book you would say, just read this book, do what he says? What do you say to a young couple?
Feel free to mention your own books. Really?
Well, I would encourage people to go to Crown Ministries, is a group I really believe in. They do a lot of stuff in local churches. The Dave Ramsey stuff, in particular, getting out of debt, and you don't have to agree with everything Dave maintains, and I would also encourage you to think in terms of why are you getting out of debt. I think one of the great reasons should be to be more free to respond to the opportunities around you, to give to your church, to give to, you can get out of debt and still be a great materialist. You're just a wiser materialist than you used to be now that you're out of debt. But you don't want to be a materialist. So there's more to it than just debt. But Crown Ministries kind of goes through the whole gamut of things, and certainly books by Howard Dayton, books by Ron Blue, who we've mentioned. Ron's a good friend. These are books that have good insights. I guess I would really encourage couples to challenge their worldview. To make sure that they're thinking as Christians, that this is God's world, that God owns it all, that we are God's money managers. He's put our name on the account, and He is entrusted to us a lot. And let's be careful and thoughtful. And part of careful and thoughtful is setting aside some money for entertainment. Part of it is personal enrichment, all of that. But one thing I really encourage young couples to do is don't look around you and see the decisions everybody else is making. Good. Do not look around you and see that, the other couples your age that have been married for the same numbers of years, they all own homes, and they all own nice homes. And so for you should know, then they start thinking, well, we shouldn't rent because renting is throwing money down the drain. Not necessarily. You're getting a place to live in. For that. That's not throwing money down a drain. And in some economies with some level of incomes, you're really not ready to buy. Or if you do buy, you better buy really low end, and most people don't really want to do that for all the repairs and everything else that's going to be done. But I think we get into this trap, and then people say, okay, well, we could afford a house of this level. Then they go to their realtor, and then pretty soon they're up at the next level, the next level. They buy way over their heads, and one of the most common things that happens with young couples, and I'll tell you one specific story in this regard. There was a couple in our church years ago, actually when I was still a pastor, who came to me because they had gone way over their heads, as many people have, and they bought a house, and the payments were manageable based on two incomes, hers and his. She then gets pregnant. She cannot afford to no longer work for them to continue their house payments, and literally they were this close to getting an abortion. They actually had the appointment to get an abortion. Now think about this, how Satan works. Here's a young couple, and their first thoughts are, we're going to buy this home. This will be a great home to raise our children in. Now God gives us a child, and we are this close to killing that child so we can afford to continue to pay for this home. That's from the pit of hell. And Satan gets and grabs people and twists and distorts the thinking. And so much of it goes back to the difference between needs and wants, contentment, being content. And don't just have to escalate like the people around you are doing. And the people who have made modest and careful and wise decisions now are ones who are so grateful in this economy. A lot of people made decisions based on, well, they could do it then. But there's nothing in the Bible that says you will be making as much money a year from now as you are now. And so when you make a long-term commitment to pay this much per month, we did that in our home. I'm not sorry we did, but it was very manageable and well within what we could do with one income.
Any thoughts on that, Wayne?
2 different times in our marriage, we bought houses bigger than we could afford and had to sell them. And there was great strain in our marriage. Margaret and I we've talked about it publicly before. Both times out of obedience to the Lord, we had to sell those houses. And we made the mistakes.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.